into the Stratusphere. We are in episode 11, heading to the glory. I'm your girl, Cindy G here, and I brought in a special guest that you guys remember him from episode 9 of Into the Stratusphere, and he was on my recent Instagram Live. Say hello to NoDQ.com contributor and co-host of The Sauce, the simple man, Noah Foster. Hey, Noah, how's it going?
It's going very well. I hope you're doing well, too. I'm happy to be back with you on this forum to talk all things wrestling with you. It was a lot of fun last time, and as you just put it, we are on the road to glory, bound for glory, as it is this Saturday, and what a go-home, along with everything else that's happened recently across all wrestling. So I look forward to once again engaging in a positive, fun, open conversation with you.
Indeed. I mean, there is so much to talk about just to get ready for this big pay-per-view from Impact Wrestling this upcoming Saturday. And so we got a lot to cover. But before we're going to get into everything to cover, like from predictions for Bound for Glory, recap, wrestling news, headlines, and also like a quick, brief recap, quick thoughts of the whole New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 Climax 30 tournament as a whole. So let's go ahead and do a plug so people can get to know you, Noah. So where they can follow you, Noah?
If people want to know a simple man who is a lifelong fan of ... wrestling, they can find me on the following platforms. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, PlayStation, and Foster 1916, and Twitch, and Foster 191625. It's as simple as that.
All right, and y'all know where you guys can find me. So you guys can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and on my YouTube channel at simply_C_OK. That's SIMPLY_C_OK, you guys. And do not forget to follow the Bulletcast on any social media platform and podcasting platform, Anchor FM, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, freaking Spotify, Stitcher, and so on and so forth. It's like so many lists goes on and on. Follow at the Bulletcast. So
again, Cindy, you need a lexicon or the list of Cindy G or something like that, my friend. You're getting lost in thought.
Oh my God. It's like so much to remember. Like I do memorize like, where they can have the podcasting platform, but I know there's like so wide range. Like you have iHeartRadio and SoundCloud and so on. So
Podbean and the Stitcher. I mean, the list goes on and on with how far out you can interact with people in the world of social networking nowadays. I get you.
Oh, indeed, Noah. Anywho, so with that being said, as we talk about those, like what we're going to be talking about today's episode. So next week, I'll be talking about the episode of New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong. For this week, it's going to be next week. So it's going to be a double hitter for that. And plus, like my overall thoughts of the New Japan Pro Wrestling Power Struggle Tour, because I know there has been like title matches that's going to be ready to go before the road to the World Tag Leagues 2020 / the Best of Super Junior 27. So it's gonna be
in November ahead of us into mid-December.
Yeah,
but we can get a reprieve for now until Friday.
Oh yeah,
road to Power Struggle.
Indeed. And the episode before that will be the recap for Bound for Glory. So for this week, you guys will get the Go Home edition and the prediction, and then like a couple days later will be the recap for Bound for Glory as the whole show episode itself, and then the rest of the regular programming up into stats for you guys. So I just want to give y'all a heads up because it is going to be a lot to talk about for the review alike. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and kick off with the general overall thoughts of the recent event that happened with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Is the G1 Climax 30. So I know you did change the background. Appreciate it. So if you guys are watching on video, Noah changed the backgrounds. So yeah. So anyway, overall, so we did do the Instagram live about the A block, B block, and the finales, like all three of them in the finals of it, and give our overall thoughts. So if you guys want to check out what we give our overall thoughts of like each of the finale shows, just head on to my Instagram page. It's on Instagram TV. Again, simply _C_OK. We did give our brutally honest thought about it. But in long story short, Kota Ibushi is your 2020 G1 Climax 30 winner, you guys. He actually beat Sonata in a pretty interesting match that, even though it said it was longer, it doesn't even felt that long, but it was a pretty much like a overall solid match, even though it's not the greatest, but it was pretty good overall. But I would say like the whole tournament itself, it was pretty impressive. I was enjoying like every moment, especially like from the returns of like Kenta, Jay White, Jeff Cobb, and Juice Robinson, and of course Will Ospreay by Dickers, and also surprises like Bea Priestley and Great Khan's return.
Hi.
And it's like so much moments and so much matches that we were so hyped up, and especially even newsworthy moments too, especially about Evil stopping by to calm the crying 2-year-old kid, and the parents are becoming a huge fan of Evil by buying.
It may be dead.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. Anyway, Noah, what are your overall thoughts of the G1 Climax tournament? And do you have like your favorite match out of all the tournaments itself and memorable moments?
Okay, so we're just looking at this one, just to be clear as far as all those questions go. So let me talk to you. First off, I thought they pulled off a tremendous tournament using names everybody knows. There was like no real fresh surprises here, no like surprise debuts. All these former names are known across New Japan Pro Wrestling and have participated in at least one G1 Climax before. I found it most unique that Tanahashi was in the B block. It really shows that he's taken a different class, I think, or role in New Japan Pro Wrestling, but still, never count out the ace. He had a tremendous performance. As far as how this went as a whole, presentation-wise, I really enjoyed it. I kept up with it live every day. I know I'm crazy. And also, of course, reviewed it every day and previewed the following days on my YouTube channel. But overall, it was easier to follow, too, because it only focused on literally one block that day, while the other block was already distinguished by itself the following day. It made the shows easier to follow. It made the shows easier to get through because they were all around 2.5 hours. I thought the Young Lions had a tremendous chance to show what they were capable of all across Japan during this entire thing. Pretty even deadlock competition, even though Yota Tsuji came out on top. As far as my overall match and favorite performance, oh, good Lord. Well, first off, it's got to be my G1 Climax VIP. Always, every time it seems, may not win, but delivers the class. I hope he wins one day. It's Tomohiro Ishii. Now, as far as my favorite match during his run, he had a number of bangers. Good Lord. Mm-hmm. From really taking Okada to the limit to spoiling, sorry, folks, Jay White. But I think my favorite match during his run, it probably was the one where he clocked Jeff Cobb in the head, and that was a fierce, wild opener where neither man got out of that the same. And even in losing, I think he lost to him. He still looked tremendous in that match. And then, of course, the one with Shingo Takagi was the one I've been waiting for since freaking last year. So I think overall, though, as far as my favorite match, because there were a number of instant classics throughout this, if I have to pick one, I got to go with someone that thoroughly impressed me. I think he truly has shined this year. I think I really enjoyed my favorite match of this G1. It was probably Taiji and Shingo Takagi. Both men really tried to outsmart each other, use each other's moves. They have a similar style when it comes to striking capabilities. And overall, there was no shenanigans used in loss or victory. Taiji has really shined here, and he has not resorted so much to the mic, though he's used the bell hammer. And, of course, the Iron Glove, he hasn't resorted at all. It's been a really strong showing overall by Taiji. Second favorite, Minoru Suzuki versus Kota Ibushi. Those two went to war and beat the holy hell out of each other. That was everything I was hoping when it comes to testing someone who wants to be a god against the king of professional wrestling. But bottom line is this, I thought the presentation was very well. I think more A-block matches impressed me more than the B-block matches overall. Though Juice Robinson and Naito will be probably my most memorable match from the B-block. And I definitely think they should stick to this format again if they can. And as far as the winner, Kota Ibushi makes history, joins a grade A class of two others that have done the same thing he's done now. Win at least 2 G1s consecutively. And, of course, Drono and Tenson. Congratulations to the Golden Star. Tough freaking break for Sonata. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very, very unique presentation of the show. And I agree. I wish it would continue like next year, like having just one show for the A block and then next show like in B block and then into rotation.
Hi.
It makes it more easier than like, oh, A block match, put it up, and then oh, tag match, and then B block matches. Like having it staggered, but like the way that they're doing it with in a beautifully presentation wise, you could say that it actually makes it more easier for me to watch and actually follow up with like who's keeping in scores and who's going to be competing against too. All in all, Noah, like the unofficial C block, the Young Lions did an incredible job. I think they're the only ones that actually have the draws out of like both A block and B block. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're correct. There was no draws across A or B block, but some matches came super close, especially during Naito's run.
Oh, yeah. Super close. And so, like, Gabriel Kidd versus Yota Tsuji. I think it's, like, mostly Yota Tsuji's match that's, like, the one that has most of the draws.
I think he had the most draws during this run. Not to mention, we had some surprises out of the Young Lions this time, too, with Uya Yamera pulling out that unique suplex in the bridge, fisherman suplex in the bridge combination. Well, excuse me, I think it's been before, but slightly different way that he went into that. Not to mention Gabriel Kidd, he finally put out his first single victories during this tour, surprising us with a double arm suplex finisher. That was effective for him.
Exactly. So, like, the Young Lions actually did shine through so much, and especially, like, the put out in a very incredible performance. And congratulations to Yota Tsuji for winning the unofficial C block. Hopefully
I'm just wondering if David Finlay sent that trophy that Rocky Romero's been talking to him about. That's what I'm wondering. Right? Yeah, I'll believe what I see.
Exactly. And like I mentioned on the Instagram Live, would it be the same trophy as to what Clark Connors is holding when he won the Lions Break crown? Who knows?
Well, Rocky said it's supposed to be like, I think, a thumbs up type thing. So probably not, but it's Rocky Romero. Take that as you will.
Of course, definitely. And overall, like, the match was actually pretty well impressed, even though, like, I did watch both A block and B block. I have to agree with you. A block is definitely, like, has, like, a little bit more of a strong power, despite the fact that I don't watch the match that includes Will Ospreay for obvious reasons, you guys. But they did put out one memorable moment and incredible, like, impressive match. Even though the B block, it was entertaining, but the only thing that was really entertaining, be like a WTF moment, like a shocker, was Yano, of course. Yano was his typical shenanigan. He beat out Sonata, which everybody was so pissed.
Don't remind me. That made me take my glasses off in pure anger. Freaking Toru Yano!
And then he beat Hiroki Goto in one of the shortest match in New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 Climax.
His shortest match now in G1 Climax history, I might add. 18 seconds!
Oh, yeah. And then, of course, he lost to Juice Robinson, which, you know, that was like pretty much the funniest match ever, especially like...
But the Juice Robinson is no nonsense, okay? He knew how to break the freaking formula that is Toru Yano. So I'm just freaking glad someone broke the Yano algorithm. And he also wasn't the only one that did it either. Because good God almighty, Yano was driving up a wall.
I know, right? Like, everybody on social media was really ruthless about Yano. Like, geez, give that guy a break. I know he's a very comedical wrestler, but, you know, he can be a bit talented too. Like, his match against Zack Sabre Jr. and his match against Yoshihashi was pretty awesome.
When he actually uses amateur wrestling in his matches, that's when I start being impressed by him. But when he wins by chicanery and tomfoolery, including Uya Yamera literally breaking Toru Yano out of a freaking Paradise Locker table, whatever the hell it was, that caused him to lose via count out. You know I'm going to be angry about this man.
Of course, and you just show the picture of how much that Yano did beat Sonata. Perfect example. If you're watching it on YouTube, there you go. But all in all, Noah, I'm going to keep saying all in all a lot because that's kind of like my new filter word.
I mean, I say the bottom line is this, when I'm about to conclude a statement. Bottom line is this. Yano, he freaking surprised me, and he made me worried that we were literally going to see this man towards the finals. Because truth be told, this man has been a champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Of course, he is the king of Pro Wrestling 2020. He beat Okada, Sonata, and El Desperado. So
yeah. He
Anyway,
did. I'm well aware. I'm just glad to see somebody's finally challenging him for that freaking trophy. But we'll talk
exactly.
about that later.
Anyway, yeah, exactly. Anyway, so I would say my favorite match out of the tournament, honestly, no, it's gonna have to go with Naito versus Tanahashi. That was a pretty impressive match, and it's like, so it was like almost too close to call, no, like almost.
It came down to one move.
Yeah,
He got
one,
caught up on one move, and Naito capitalized.
exactly. But
That
he
just
did.
goes to show how much history and how well these two know each other. You think about the rivalries that Naito has had with Tanahashi, with Juice
Mhm.
Robinson, with his own people in LIJ, including most particularly Sonata. That was the
Sonata.
breaking point of Naito's run.
That's right, and that's what is my other favorite match of out of the tournament was Naito versus Sonata, where Sonata finally got his W.
Yes, he
And
did.
that's
With
when
a
he
modified Destino. But that was the only time this Hoji won that he actually pulled out that move. It kind of surprises me. It makes me wonder if he did that against Coda, would we having a different outcome right now?
exactly. Yeah, like this whole everything about it, it's like beautifully well done. And it's really much like most memorable moments. Like I honestly know what I feel the A block has mostly most memorable moment than a B block, because the B block to me is like entertainment. A
Mm-hmm.
block, a WTF memorable moments too. But let's just forget, we have Evil in the B block, and then Kenta. Remember when they were trying to face off and Kenta was trying to do a too sweet to Evil, but instead Evil just too sweetie dick Togo.
There's something going on right there. I sense a civil war in Bullet Club coming. Everyone's like,
Yeah.
Club's fine. I don't know about that. And yeah, Kenta playing spoiler tonight, but it looks like Kenta now knows who's going after his briefcase, the man that he literally broke it with on their head.
Oh, indeed. Yeah, and then of course, like in the A block, we have Jay White that ordered Yujiro to get down and just have him pinned while Jay was wearing street clothes.
Yeah, Jay was not taking Yujiro seriously at all. And while Yujiro respects him as Bullet Club's greatest leader, clearly he was not going to just lay down and let freaking Jay White get an easy win over him. And kudos to Yujiro, not going in this thing scoreless, beating your boy Club in his last match, which kind of surprises me. But then again, he did have to resort to underhanded tactics to get the job done.
Yeah, exactly. And like with Yujiro, like he didn't have the best of luck in the G1 Climax. Like we thought he's gonna break Homa's record for the most L's, but then again he beat Jeff Cobb with the pimp juice, and holy hell, he won. And it's like in a B block where Yoshihashi beat Yano. Of course, we still got the freaking background. Beat Yano and got a second win.
Yeah, he actually ended a better score than the Tokyo Pimp, which I'm quite surprised actually with how his score went, because a number of his matches were quite some impressive bangers. He went tip for tap with several of his opponents.
Right. So now it's that what's going to be next for all of it. I know we have like the upcoming like matches coming up for the New Japan Power Struggles tour.
Aye.
It's going to be a lot memorable. And I also one last thing before we wrap it up about the G1 Climax. I want to give huge respect to Hiroki Goto for working the match while having a shoulder injury after he sustained an injury on night 2 of the G1 Climax.
He went for the entire thing. He refused to forfeit a single match, and he still fought his heart out and still came out with a pretty strong score.
Oh, yeah. And so that was like pretty impressive and pretty admirable for him. So,
Agreed.
Yeah, you guys, again, you guys, so if you guys want to check out the, our recap and thoughts about the A block finals, the B block finals, and the G1 Climax 30 finals, where me and Noah did break it down each of the match and give our thoughts about it, just head on to my Instagram page, and it's going to be on Instagram TV. And again, at simply_C_OK. That's right. And of course, Noah put the picture, of course, Kota Ibushi with the contract and the trophy. Of course.
He did it again. He
press
friggin'
conference.
did it again.
That's right. And a spoiler about the upcoming match, he's going to face Jay White for the contract.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's going to be pretty interesting.
Well, again, neither the double champ nor the certificate holder has a free ride going up to Wrestle Kingdom. While we don't have the King of Pro Wrestling pay-per-view, you know that both these men have blemishes during their runs. That's why Coda is right now facing Jay White for that certificate. And, spoiler alert, folks, Naito Evo 3.
Oh, yeah. It's gonna get crazy, y'all. With that being said, that is it for our thoughts about the whole G1 Climax, our overall, broad thoughts about the whole tournament itself. We're going to go kick things off with some headlining news from World of Wrestling. So anyway, as I mentioned it last episode of Into the Stratusphere regarding the COVID-19 outbreak after the GCW, the collective show, well, now there has been a response from two people. First of all, an update regarding some of the talents that tested positive for COVID or not. So unfortunately, guys, yesterday on Twitter, Tony Deppen has broke the news that he has been tested positive for COVID-19. So just wanted to wish Tony Deppen best of luck and hope he gets well very soon. And then other than that, I know Shug D, aka Pineapple Pete.
Pineapple Pete, I hate that guy.
Yeah, Faye Jackson, some of the 44 age guys, of course, Ricochet Page, Anderson Scorder, Greg Irons, Eddie Only, Eric Ryan. They confirmed that they tested negative for COVID. So is Alley Cat. And some of the wrestlers, they just spoke out to say they tested negative as well. So the only wrestler that's been tested positive besides Tony Deppen, as I said it before, is AC Mack, Cabana Mandan, and Dan the Dad as well. And hopefully, again, wishing everybody and the fans who tested positive, wishing everybody a get well soon, sending you prayers and much love. And I know you guys can beat this virus, you guys. But with that being said, I know that there was a lot of criticism from GCW and especially the promoters and Joey Janela as well. To kick things off, not to kick things off, but there's a response from GCW made this statement under their alternate account, the GCW Collective Twitter account. They did release a statement on Twitter and they wrote, "Thank you to all the fans that attended the Collective in Indianapolis. On behalf of the 8 participating promotion, we thank you for your energy and enthusiasm at a time when we all needed this feeling of normalcy. Okay. Not only did you attend, but you follow guidelines and were respectful and mindful of the safety of not just yourself, but also of those around you. And for that, we are grateful. With that being said, over the last 24 plus hours, we have learned of a handful of positive COVID tests from those who attended the Collective. We have been in contact with some of them and we will continue to be and offer our support as they navigate through the upcoming days and weeks. We encourage everyone who attended the event in any capacity to get a test as soon as possible and notify those they may have interacted with or their situation." So that's pretty admirable for GCW to take the responsibility just to make sure that if any of the fans or staff member that attended the Collective, just make sure to get their test result back in too. And now for Joey Janela's statement, since Joey Janela did issue a statement since he actually was the one that headlined the book, the GCW.
As he booked the spring break.
Yes, that's
Even
right.
Though it makes no sense because it's autumn, but I digress.
Well, it was supposed to be happening in April, but then of course COVID happened and shut down. Right. So it actually kind of makes it more sense, when you have the show that was supposed to be happening on WrestleMania weekend, just bring it back, push it forward to the fall season, just to make sure that it felt like a spring break. I actually watched the show myself. If you guys want to check out my thoughts and also the results, check out the last episode, Into the Stratusphere, you guys. That's where I went on a full breakdown for it as well. And plus, like I said, I actually got some followers. And by the way, one of the participants in the GCW Collective, of course, one of the Walmart boys, Lord Adrian, or aka Lord A, check out the interview that Philip actually interviewed Lord Adrian on one of the past episodes, so I highly check it out. It's a really dope interview. And Philip, again, thank you for the shout out. Anywho, so Joey Janela did release a statement regarding with the backlash of the aftermath of the COVID cases and whatnot. So he wrote on Twitter in a lengthy statement, "Let's get this straight. Every one of my indie opponents and referees have been tested, stated in guidelines from my employer since the beginning of summer, and I've made sure that going forward, I will make sure everyone is tested negative before wrestling on a GCW show. No excuses. Most people think I have something to do with running of the company, and that's not the case. But I do see myself as a locker room leader and a pillar of the company, and am in constant communication with Brett Lauderdale. And we'll make sure we continue to run and learn from the mistake. I can't talk for you all, but most fans I've talked to felt safe during the collective. I sat in the stands for about 5 shows, and I felt safe. I saw Stepstool Sarah, who is a ring announcer based in St. Louis, Missouri, and Kaya Mack, constantly yelling at drunk F words, drunk F words to apply their mask properly.
Good censorship.
Yes. I can't talk for you all, but most fans I've talked to felt safe during, okay, well, I kind of replay the last second. Okay, the last part. The locker room was the size of a effing football field, and everyone distanced and wore masks in there too. So I'm glad that both of these guys actually, well, Janela and also probably Brett Lauderdale running the collective account, actually released a statement just to clarify what's going on, because I know that like Brett Lauderdale have been receiving a lot of backlash and like constant interview from like different reporters. So I'm glad they actually like spoke out about like they're making sure that the next time moving forward, everybody needs to get tested negative to allow it to go. Because I know like some of the wrestlers, they did not inform them, hey, I didn't get tested prior to coming to Indianapolis, or like tested like right after they landed to like, Indianapolis and whatnot. So it's just like their responsibility that they have to take their own accountability to make sure that they're 100% safe and making sure that like everybody is protected. Now, Noah, I want to give your overall about this, and also I want to give your thoughts about like, should they continue to run independent wrestling show while we're still in a pandemic? Because I just spoke briefly about it on the last episode, but I want to hear your overall thoughts as a lifelong fan of wrestling.
Well, it goes like this. It doesn't matter if you're small, big, medium, uprising, etc. Nobody, no profession is safe from this virus that is affecting our way of living today. But again, when it comes to certain jobs, like wrestling, this is people's livelihood. You have to make a living one way or another. If the opportunity is there to try and present it in the safest way as possible, I say you continue it. The way they have gone about bringing wrestling fans, new and old, small and big, to these forums, and our favorite wrestlers that are passionate about this sport, this profession that they chose to pursue, I commend and admire that. But nobody's safe from this. We figure out from the top how we've been given backlash to AEW, to WWE. Heck, people have even been given backlash to Impact and NJPW. It's no different, I think, when it comes to the independent scene. Now, truth be told, the independent scene, it's a whole different take. It's smaller, okay? But they've done things, including people just in their cars or social distancing across a football field. The bottom line, I feel, is this. I feel like right now, everybody's trying to handle this the best way as possible while trying to protect as many jobs as possible. At the end of the day, this is people doing their jobs for our entertainment. It's supposed to help everybody. So I don't think it necessarily should cease. But if you do feel that things might not be taken as seriously as they should be, then yes, you should take knowledge for that. You should admit your mistakes, and you should enhance that. While some companies do whatever they can to keep positive PR, I'm not going to throw out any names, I appreciate how Joey Janela, for example, really is holding himself accountable towards what might be happening here and how he's going to try and handle this in the future. So I think right now what they're doing is okay, but it's never going to be the same, and it's never going to be at the perfect stance. They can only try and do better with their next show. But I support whatever they're doing in the name of safety and health, #1 priority for both the fans and the wrestlers.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that too, especially like how much like different companies are trying to make their modification to see like whether they'd rather have their show indoors or outdoors, how they're going to
Exactly.
maintain the social distancing and the aspect. I know that some of the promotion decided to shut down the whole show until next year, like Alpha One Wrestling Canada. They canceled the remaining of their 2020 event, or like other companies as well, because of like how bad it's going to get for COVID. But at the same time, this is what we're going to have to deal with for quite a while. And
so you just got to find a way to deal as safe as possible. But at the end of the day, I understand when it comes to at the top, it's business. You have to do what you need to do to make sure you don't lose money or put anyone's lives in jeopardy. So I can understand some of these companies' concerns to postpone scheduling as late as next year, especially with the holiday season coming into play. You don't want anybody coming home sick for the holidays.
Exactly. And, the weather too. Let's not forget cold weathers in certain parts of states. Because I know that there's some states that are still not allowing fans, which I found out in California, thanks, because I saw the breaking news from 49ers, the football team, of course. But they just announced that California will officially allow fans to attend outdoor sporting events, but with modification, how many capacity level.
It sounds like what AEW has been doing with their audience, private pods, trying to slowly raise attendance, but still keeping in caution about everybody, and still, of course, taking temperature checks and everybody being tested. So I kind of get some states going to outdoor events, allowing fans for that, because I feel like it's safer to do things outdoors than it is indoors. That's the number one thing I've noticed during this whole COVID era professional wrestling. So there's that.
Exactly. And I know that GCW just had their show in Silverado, California, which is down in SoCal, this past weekend, which I think that's the first ever independent wrestling show back in California, So since now they kind of officiate the rules, it looks like we're probably going to get independent wrestling back in California, but I don't know for any foreseeable future, because now the numbers are getting higher, and then there's more COVID cases.
I feared this was going to spike again in the fall with everybody, coming back from these breaks, vacations, people still ignoring the idea you should wear a mask completely over your face and nose.
Right.
And you and I have both seen it in and outside of wrestling shows, including watching live. Heck, I've seen NJPW. We've seen people slowly bring it down and then bring it back up later, or not at all. So again, it comes down to the people taking this as serious as possible, okay? I'm not a doctor, all right? But I do know this. 99% safety is better than 15 or 0% safety. So just do what you're supposed to do during this thing. For the sake of all of us, if you don't care about yourself, at least care about those around you. Jesus. Selfish generation.
Lord, though.
But anyway, that's my rant.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, we just got to keep in mind that we have to make sure that we have to be careful about it. I know different companies that are moving forward when it comes to safety protocols. I know GCW already learned their valuable lesson when it comes to this whole COVID situation. I mean, nobody's perfect for it, but at the end of the day, they try their best. We all do, but they just continue to push forward, especially
learn from your mistakes, improve upon your next activity.
Indeed. All right, so let's go ahead and kick off with the next headline of the news. So on Instagram this morning, Kia Stevens, aka AEW star Awesome Kong, did release a statement regarding the cancellation of Glow. Since me and Noah did talk about the cancellation of Glow on episode 9 of the Into the Stratusphere, so we did. So she wrote kind of a 4-scroll whatever summary on her Instagram page. So to sum it up for you guys, since me and Noah did read the whole thing, so pretty much she did confirm that they only taped 1 episode of the season 4 of Glow, and how much that this season needs to voice more diversity for the character, but also behind the scene as well. As she stated that there's not one colored person in the staff, and they wanted to make sure they wanted to spread the message alike, especially what happened back in the 80s, and just more of the whole dynamic. And she did stated that she's pretty heartbroken when it canceled, but she wanted to continue to spread the message to what Glow is about, and hopefully making sure that the show, hopefully if they decide to bring back Glow, then they could rewrite what's going on for the finale of season 4 of Glow to make it head into a bang. So, Noah, what are your thoughts of her statement?
It almost feels like we're revisiting a movement, and there's been a number of movements in social media, as you know. It almost feels like we're trying to revisit what that movement meant, because it feels like right now what my university stands for is not what Glow seems to stand for. Diversity. She wants everybody to be treated as a fair and equal person, as part of the set, as part of the production value, open-minded to everyone's opinions, ideas, interests, and beefs. And at the end of the day, she just wants everybody to be happy, fan and actress wise, on off the set about this production, to keep it simple, because it almost feels like it's going into sensitive territory. But at the end of the day, she just wants Glow to be what it was supposed to be in the beginning: equal, welcome, fun opportunity in a wrestling type form for all.
Indeed. I mean, when the season 1 of Glow did begin to air, it just showed like a whole aspect about like how women are being portrayed in the media, especially like trying to run an all-female show, and how much
Right.
they had been like discriminated by like the time slot changes and how they're depicted, and especially like a bit about racism too, especially for like from all like going forward. Like last season, they actually hit hard when it comes to like sending a message of the LGBTQ community. And that's what I
Mm-hmm.
was really impressed with the last season of Glow itself.
Again, it touches sensitive subjects, and again, that might affect the audience that watch your product. But the bottom line is this: you don't want to alienate anybody, and that I can respect. Why some people may not agree with certain people's beliefs, ways of styles, and who knows what else, we have no right to judge anybody. At the end of the day, this is just something that's trying to entertain you. Pick and choose it as you will, but don't belittle, bejudge it, bully it, or put it to shame because it might stand for something that you are against.
Indeed. So I hope like with her powerful message, it can make a difference. I mean, especially like how what's going to be happening next for like the rest of the cast of Glow, since like are they going to, I know they're going to continue on spreading the message until like one of the networks can pick up the final season of Glow, or
Mm-hmm.
even Netflix can take it into reconsideration.
There's a number of factors here that got to be taken into consideration about that final season. And at the
Yeah,
end of the day, it all starts with who's going to back you up. But you got to
exactly.
get that message out there to as many sources as possible if you're going to have a chance. So I wish them all the best in pursuing that.
Agree. And I know one source say that someone already started a petition and they're actually getting close to the goal.
Good.
This is signage. So I think this is going
This
to
is
be
when you
something.
use what America stands for, freedom of assembly. Not that I'm trying to be political, but again, you have that power to express something that you believe in, and then you have the power, via the internet especially,
Mm-hmm.
to try and garner other people's support in the most friendly, civil manner possible, versus what we've seen this year under other forums, but I digress. So
Oh,
I'm glad to see that this is a way that they're doing this. And again, this is the way that the fans are also showing their support too. So at the end of the day, it sounds like it's a positive for everybody. Now we're just trying to see how it all falls through.
exactly. And how it's going to unfold. But we'll see what's going on. But if there's anything changes regarding with Glow, I'll make sure to update y'all so that way that we'll see like what's going to happen. I just hope like, whatever that's going to happen next, we're just going to have to see for the foreseeable future.
Time will tell.
Exactly. And all right. And then on the last news of this wrestling headline. So on Dark Side of the Ring's Instagram page did confirm with the picture of said deadline, Dark Side of the Ring renewed for expanded season 3 at Vice TV. And they wrote in the caption on their Instagram page, we're coming back in 2021 with 14 new episodes. What stories would you like us to cover? Oh my God, Noah. 14
Okay.
episodes.
Oh,
You know
geez.
how it's going to get real.
I mean, it got real since episode 1, where we learned of the just the fallout of fudge it, I'm saying the name. Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero and the downfall of the Benoit family. And we saw how really heavy it hit everybody on the Guerrero side, everybody on the Benoit side, and beyond. Not to mention Chris Jericho, who played heavily involved, I might add, in the production of at least that. Now, whether or not he played in production of all the others, there are too many ways documentaries are wrestleified in a way that I can't keep up with all this madness. I can
I
only
know.
imagine what other madness ensued. But I know there's many other stories galore that they did. And who knows what else they might cover. Heck, somebody suggested freaking Muhammad Hassan. You remember how controversial that was, especially following the events of 9/11? There were kids fearing for their lives at the airport when they saw this guy literally saying to their parents, I love you. What does that tell you? And then you think about other situations that happen. John Cena getting stabbed. You think about the fallout of TNA in the early 2010s. You can talk about business just going up in the air. And who knows what they might try and use from just 2020 falling off the past as well. Yeah. So your guess is as good as mine with what they're going to go with. But I'm sure it's going to be stuff that people are going to be like, what in the holy hell is wrong with this business?
I know. Like, I know for this year, it has been so much craziness has been going on. Like, with the whole Speaking Out movie, definitely that's going to be the one that's going to cover for Dark Side of the Ring. And, of course, as of recent, Alberto Del Patron or Alberto Del Rio's arrest.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. And he might be in for life. Good luck with how much money you got.
Exactly. Like, shoes. Talk about fall from grace, though. There's a perfect example. But there's, like, other episodes that everybody could cover that is, like, something that's notable. Like, you know, like, let's see. Masahiro Masawa's death and how it became a debate in Japan regarding, like, you know, care for someone that is like badly injured, they need to stop the match, or unfortunately he passed away.
But I mean, this also could be a revisit of when Vince McMahon doesn't, like, you know, hold himself accountable for those that might have literally injured themselves to the point of death. I mean, this was certainly touched on by that freaking John guy from last week tonight, and that still is a controversial thing to this day.
I know, right? Or, like, I know, of course, mention about Brian Pillman. That'll be one.
I've heard that most recently, so
China,
good luck with your future there. If I can be as polite as possible, God help you.
Also, Ricky Dozen, a notable Japanese wrestler that got killed by the Yakuza, which is a Japanese mafia.
They made it. I know there's a video.
That would be that, or even, you know, Antonio Inoki.
Antonio Inoki, the days of Inokiism, early in the days of New Japan Pro Wrestling. That was a dark era.
Yeah, that would be like a perfect episode because, like, you know, New Japan Pro Wrestling's already expanded into the wider audience, like in the Western side, you know? So it's like, why not have the episode of the Inokiism so that we can learn about, like, the downfall of New Japan Pro Wrestling and how they resonated back to the top of it, too. A lot of, like, episodes you can throw it out there, like, to come think of it for advice. Like, of course, Pillman, Ricky Dozen, Masawa, China, of course.
I'm about to say the China, Sunny. I mean, there's a number of things you can cover, both recent and old, especially with the WWE. I don't know whether or not they covered the whole steroid thing yet, or the whole John Cena stabbing by Khalid's bodyguard, which apparently was a real thing. Yeesh. You think about other facets in wrestling. I mean, I'm sure there's probably some underlining dark tales of the independence scene.
Road 2011.
Yeah,
of course.
There's some things I try to forget. I try and forget about the dark side, but
this
series literally brings it back up, and sometimes I wonder, is that for the best?
Exactly. And also another notable too, independent wrestling companies like Combat Zone Wrestling, aka GCW, they went on a hot waters for that. So
that company, I'm surprised it's
oh man, it's gonna be so much that Dark Side of the Ring is gonna be producing, like 14 episodes of, like, very interesting topic that everybody wants to hear and listen. And honestly, you know, I feel like the final episode of episode 14 is probably gonna be about the Speaking Out movement.
It wouldn't surprise me one bit. They're gonna go chronological in time across this era in wrestling, or blah blah blah. 2020 is a Dark Side of the Ring episode waiting to happen.
Oh yeah. So looking forward to what's going to be happening next year for Dark Side of the Ring. I mean, I cannot wait. I got to make sure to subscribe to Vice TV or you know, ask my household to purchase Vice so I can watch it there, because I know they have season 1 of Dark Side of the Ring on Hulu, and
there's probably a bunch of it on YouTube. I think I literally watched the Benoit Eddie Guerrero thing on YouTube. Yeah, I did watch it on YouTube. It was 2 parts.
Yeah, mentally I'm not ready to watch the Benoit one, especially. That's the reason why I stopped watching wrestling for 4 years.
And here you are talking about recording the next season coming up.
Well, yeah, because I did watch some of the episodes of season 2, and I did almost completing watching season 1 of Dark Side of the Ring, because the last episode I just watched is about Pedro Morales. Oh, no, Gina. It's been a while. It's been a while.
Been a while. Travis,
Gino Hernandez. Yeah.
Sorry, I went there with Stain, but I get what you
Gino
mean,
Hernandez. Not
and
Pedro Morales.
again, there's certain
My
names
bad.
you connected with as a fan in wrestling that you probably are not ready to watch the story of, and I'm sure that goes for a lot of people. So I get what you're saying.
Exactly. Like, I mean, I was pretty okay watching the episode of the Von Erichs, and yeah, it was hella sad. I feel bad for Kevin Von Erich,
Mm.
Yeah, the Von Erichs. Yeah, and then of course, like everything that happened in season 1. So, yeah.
There you go. Oh, they might cover the freaking Fabulous Moolah, because we all know the controversy behind that.
They already covered that on season 1.
Oh, well, then there you go.
Yeah, it was on season 1.
Again, I don't watch
that episode yet.
Someone told me to check out The Dark Side of the Ring. I checked it out. I'm like, why did I just spend 90 minutes looking at this? Good Lord.
And asking the questions too. So it's like,
Some people like that stuff. Some people want to know, why did this happen? Well, now you're going to find out. But sometimes, well, they say curiosity killed the cat. I don't think it's going to necessarily affect anybody from that standpoint, but it probably will question people's decision making when it comes to what you watched in wrestling, what you do watch in wrestling, who you support in wrestling.
Exactly. Like, okay, now I got their name. It's Gino Hernandez. That's the last episode I watched. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Like the Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth's episode. I feel bad for Miss Elizabeth though, but then again, it's like she turned it for the worse, but it's sad. And then
I've heard the highlights from that one, because you know how much I supported Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth.
Oh yeah, and then the Montreal screw job, and like I said, both parties are very accountable. Not just it's like Vince McMahon stole Jim Cornette's idea, so it's actually him, Cornette, and Eric Bischoff.
That's a combustible trio.
Exactly. They're all three of them are held accountable. They screw themselves, and then Bruiser Brody, which his killer should have been in jail for a longer period of time. I cannot believe they released that. It made me so PO, but whatever.
There you go. Then that's how you react as a wrestling fan when you hear this. You're like, what the? And again, when I look at the judicial system, what is justice? But I'm not trying to take this podcast into another direction. I'm just going to leave it there.
Exactly. So, yeah, let's just stop about this whole Dark Side ring, because I know we're going to be rambling on for hours about that, because we got a lot to cover.
Oh, yeah.
Impact. I know. It's like so much like what the Dark Side ring wanted to talk about, especially what all of us wanted to learn more about, because when it comes to wrestling, it has so much storytelling that none of us were expected to see.
And yet some of us want more of that on our television screens.
Oh, indeed. So looking forward to 2021. Let's all...
Ditto. I will say that for wrestling in general. Ditto.
Exactly. Alrighty. So before we get into the recap for last night's episode, by the time of the recording of the video, we're recording on a Tuesday night. It was after watching Impact Wrestling. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to hear from Brandon of Curveballs and Chair Shots.
What's up, everyone? It's Brandon. If you love sports and wrestling like I do, then check out my other podcast, Curveballs and Chair Shots. Every Friday, me and my illustrious co-host Dominic Hobson talk the biggest news from the MLB, NFL, NBA, and so much more. We also cover some things we don't talk about here on the Bulletcast, including a weekly NXT recap. You can listen to Curveballs and Chair Shots wherever you get your podcast. Just simply search Curveballs and Chair Shots. Now let's get back to the show.
All right, you guys, and we are back. So we are heading home, Noah. That's right. Impact Wrestling's Bound for Glory, the last episode before the pay-per-view. And I must say about this episode, it was a lot of video packaging to hype up the show, especially like leading up to the pay-per-view that's going on this upcoming Saturday. Or is it going to be today's Saturday? Because I don't know when the podcast will be released, but I
Just say the actual date, because you don't know when the podcast's going to be released. We discussed that before.
I know that my shows normally air on a Saturday, but I don't know, maybe exception for posting it earlier because we're heading to Bound for Glory, and I know we got to do the recap. But
yeah.
I'll
But
just
anyway, as we literally record this, my time, 11:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday night, October the 20th. Yeah, we're heading down to their biggest show of the year. I thought Slammiversary was the reset. Nope. This is truly the reset of what we see Impact Wrestling is going to possibly be. Bound for Glory this Saturday night, October 24th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But they got a ton of stuff before that. And they pretty much unloaded what to expect just tonight.
Oh, yeah. Alrighty. So what he's saying, we're going to go kicking things off with the recap. So the first match is the Call Your Shot Challenge. So the winner gets the number 20 and the loser gets number 1. So you have his cousin Jake Diener versus Heath versus Hernandez, a.k.a. Hernandez, versus Rhino versus Alicia, which she no longer goes by Alicia Edwards. I guess they kind of wanted to shorten her name, but I still gonna call her Alicia Edwards since she
it only says Alicia on the Titantron, so I guess there's that.
Exactly. Well, the match was pretty interesting. I mean, kudos to Alicia Edwards for being the only female in the match, even though she started off with trash talking. All the competitors like pushing it off like she is the true Bostonian she is, until Hernandez actually pick her up, put her on the top of the turnbuckle, and pat her head, and that's where everybody started brawling on. So it was a pretty fun episode of fun show match, whatever. It's
a fun 5-way opener. Let me help you here.
Exactly.
I mean, Alicia Edwards, I feel like was being basically treated as the one basically outside of all of this. And she's like, oh, you don't take me seriously? How about you take me seriously? She just comes up to each man, and Hernandez just laughing. Of course, she goes up to Hernandez last, and Hernandez is like, okay, look, I'm going to put you over here. You stay over here. Let the real men in this match, the real wrestlers, take care of the work. And for the most part, most of them were brought them on themselves until Alicia decided to put herself into this match on a number of occasions, including nearly stealing a pinfall and then going off the top rope being caught. Then she goes up to basically a Diener, tries to be a gentleman. That falls out a little bit. Okay. Hernandez was about to friggin' powerbomb her following that. But again, he being a gentleman, the Diener kind of saved her and kind of like, put her out of the harm's way. Until she got freaking gored by Rhino, who was like, oh, shit, what did the fuck I just do? And Hernandez capitalizes with a simple schoolboy, and Hernandez is number 20. Rhino is number 1.
Yeah, like... Seeing Alicia Edwards getting brutally
we got Gordon that next week.
Yeah, it's like, whoa. I was like, I hope she's okay and she stands strong. I was worried that she's gonna get pinned by Rhino, of course, and then Hernandez with the schoolboy roll up.
Well, Rhino couldn't believe he speared a woman. He gored a woman.
Yeah, it's like, dang, that's crazy. But
funny ending.
All in all, Noah, so Rhino is number 1, which sucks because remember the speculation for the Call Your Shots?
That's right.
If Rhino or Heath does not win, not only Heath is not going to sign with Impact, but Rhino is going to be fired, which he's in jeopardy, And then Hernandez being on 20, it's like, ooh. That's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I of all people, I did not think Hernandez would be number 20 because Hernandez is one of those that's kind of been, I feel like, an afterthought. Though I do think about when he did call back to Bound for Glory last year, or no, it was 2 years ago, excuse me. There was, of course, that wild concrete fight where it literally was just, boards moving at one point. He's like, someone could possibly break their neck. You don't know. You don't care. It was just a wild time between the OGs, of course, and LAX, as they were formerly known. Shout out to Conan. But, it's kind of weird figuring that Hernandez now is in the best spot to possibly get a shot at any title he wants. And I think it'd be foolish, in my opinion, to go after anything but the Impact World Heavyweight Championship, which is why I find this Call Your Shot gauntlet always a little odd, because I don't know what sort of people might win and what title they might go for. Would they be more comfortable to go for the World one or the X Division one? I mean, come on, no guy's going to go after the Knockouts title. That would just be breaking barriers.
No, hell no. Yeah, it's crazy. And regarding with Hernandez, I feel like he's like a veteran now because he's been with Impact with like so many years, like, with LAX and then Mexican Americans and then
Yep.
of course back to LAX. It just seems that he's more of kind of like a seasonal veteran in my eyes too, just like with WWE with Mickey James, for example.
Who went undrafted, but that's a whole different story, and I'll talk about that on a different podcast. But I get what you mean, and yeah, they do have some veterans there that have been long-time round goers of Impact Wrestling. That's really helped basically shine and guide the plethora of young up-and-coming talent on this roster, especially nowadays.
Exactly. So it is going to be pretty interesting what's going to be happening next. I know we're going to cover the Call Your Shot Gauntlets match on the prediction segment, so we're going to hold on to that. So anyway, let's go to move on to, so we have as a video package of Moose and EC3's feud, which is a pretty interesting video packaging, don't you say, Noah?
It's an interesting feud in general, all about this thing called the narrative. EC3 trying to burn down the legacy that is his past, the TNA Heavyweight title, while also trying to bring out the real Moose, the real man, this man that he believes that he can be, but he has to do it his own way, through his own means. And that is what it means to control this narrative. So yeah, it was an interesting video package, but more so, it was more interesting seeing how, even though Moose finally got blood on his hands, EC3's blood, got his so-called title back, as EC3 put it, a false title for a false idol. Solo just trash talking back and forth even before the brawl last week was something very unique to me too.
It is.
So yeah, this narrative has definitely been one of my most eye-catching and mind-wondering segments weekly of Impact Wrestling. And now I'm really wondering how it all concludes this Saturday. But now we know where both men stand verbally, as I know it was slowly covered.
Exactly. And I know, like, after the video package you have is Jimmy Jacob interviewing Moose. And I know Moose was starting to get aggravated by him asking about EC3 and like
he's still rattled. EC3 is definitely in his head.
Yeah, and so Moose actually storms up, and afterwards you have this hooded minion with an EC3, and then you have a picture.
Whoops, botch.
Oh my god, I'm dead.
I
With the hooded minion, of course. Yeah, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, yeah, Noah has some really fancy background.
The beauty of Zoom, but also the downfall when you hit the wrong button. I was supposed to go to the TNA title. Anyway, continue your talk.
Anyway, so Jimmy Jacob got kidnapped by the hooded minion and then took him to like an undisclosed location, which we're going to get into that in just a bit. And then you have is this freaking Russell House cast segment, which we thought is going to be the rehearsal dinner, but no, it's just your typical backstage segment. Not too much to say. It's just Johnny Bravo being a groomzilla, blame on everyone. And I know that Johnny Swinger or Cousin Jake Diener did hire a photographer.
It was Cousin Jake Diener.
Yeah,
he forgot the name of the photographer.
Yeah,
but we know who it is. It's Caleb.
With a K. Yeah. And
of course it's Caleb with a freaking K. Who else would it be?
Exactly. And then you have Tennille Dashwood with him too, of course, her personal photographer. It's like, seriously, how hokey can it be? And you can see the different side. And of course, Taya came by and she thought the receptions happened. She told him what happened. Of course, he was given the attitude. And of course, Taya was like, you don't have to be rude. I mean, who do you got this attitude? And I was like, girl, you got the attitude from him.
Have you looked in a mirror?
Exactly. Like, seriously. Like, I just can't with this, and I know that the wedding is going to be next week. Thank God.
I'm kidding. The week of Halloween. We have a wedding between a butler and a demon.
Exactly, which we're going to get into the video package in a bit, too. So, anyway, let's skip to the next segment, which is the video package of Deonna Purrazzo. And actually, this is one of my favorite video packaging from her. And especially the fact that she talked about the legacy of the Knockouts title, and especially the different like Knockouts matches from the past too. Like, I love how she actually explains it in a very thorough way, especially like she say those quintessential big words that I don't understand sometimes, but I know Noah, you do too. And then she actually leading on to like her upcoming match against Kylie Rae for the Knockouts title. She did a very beautiful job. Your thoughts on this?
I love the fact that our current Knockouts champion respects the legacy of trailblazing matches and incredible knockouts before her that have really shaped this one-of-a-kind women's professional wrestling division of the industry. And now how she leads it today under this unique era of knockouts where you have everybody that's just prime, hungry, trying to prove what they're worth, not being utilized or underlooked, such as Kimberly last week against Kylie Ray, which still is one of my favorite Impact Knockout matches so far since Slammiversary. I thoroughly loved it, but again, she goes into here with confidence. She believes that she is going to go in here, break Kylie Ray's arm, because Kylie Ray smiling galore and also breaking what she's known for, just smiling. But we've seen this mean side now, it seems, to Kylie Ray. It was nice, subtle respect for what the knockouts stand for. But again, it's also that subtle, I am the better wrestler than you. You will not dethrone me. This is not your time. This is my legacy now to lead the knockouts division through just sheer class as I continue my reign as the knockouts champion. I thought it was a very good way to not only introduce fans new to what the knockouts division was and what this title now stands for, but also to really give you an idea of what to look forward to at Bound for Glory for this title match. Women's wrestling respected then and now. I thought it was very good.
Agree. No, you said a very mouthful. And speaking of which, let's move on to the next match. Rosemary versus Havoc. If Rosemary win, Havoc has to summon Father James Mitchell back from the grave. And if Rosemary lose, then she had to leave Havoc and Nevaeh alone for good. The match was over 3 minutes, like one of the short knockouts match we've seen in quite a while, you guys. So not much to say. I mean, it's just your typical face-off that we saw for Rosemary and from Havoc. I mean, you have Rosemary with the reverse DDT for a 2 count, and then Havoc, of course, with her usual powerhouse leg drop from Rosemary. And then, of course, at the end, of course, Rosemary with the spear, and she picked up the victory. And then so afterwards, she ordered Havoc to follow her. And that's it. Noah, your thoughts of the match?
Jeez. I like how they said we're trying to bring him back from the undead realm. He was killed in the undead realm. He's in hell. Just put it as simple as that. So now this ghost of horror from Havoc's past, she is now going to bring back because Rosemary beat her with not 1 spear, but 2. I can only imagine what madness is going to ensue at this wedding now that we're going to have Father James Mitchell at it, let alone the fact that I'm sure Father James Mitchell has not forgotten what both Havoc and Su Yung did to him. So, again, next week, I personally hope the Father James Mitchell thing is a one-up, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
Same. Do you think Father James Mitchell will come back as a ghost or a zombie?
I know it is Halloween week. Put me on the spot there, did you?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think he's just going to come back as his nattling, cackling self with a red suit. I don't sense any change as far as his overall visual appearance goes, unless he's on Zoom, virtually.
Oh, yeah,
I think he's going to come
right.
back the same way we know him as. Red suit, bald head, cackling laugh with a cane.
That's true. Probably they're gonna have him in a some form of an extra projection type of form, as a ghost too, since we're still under a pandemic. And I don't know if he's gonna be able to come to these
to Impact Wrestling. I get you. But of course, they're on their schools. Okay.
So it is very intrigued to see what's going to be happening next on the wedding, but we're going to get to the video packaging of that again soon. Anyway, so let's go and move on to more video packaging, tag teams video packaging. So it's pretty interesting. I enjoyed it. Makes me want to hype more for the freaking tag team match that's going to be happening at Bound for Glory. Noah, your thoughts?
Again, we keep talking about it. This Impact Wrestling Tag Team Division, this is the rebirth. 2020, one good thing you can say about 2020. This is the rebirth this year of tag team wrestling across professional wrestling outside the W. With that being said, yeah, I am really looking forward to this 4-way. Every week we see these 4 teams in some way continue to just brawl and kick the hell out of each other's asses. whether it's singles, whether it's unique four-ways, whether it's the triple threats, whether it's like outside interference, or as the Good Brothers said, they are basically guardian angels for the Motor City Machine Guns. At the end of the day, no matter what I see about For Glory, there's a match of the guns coming between the Good Brothers and the Motor City Machine Guns versus Machine Guns, and I can't wait for that. But overall, the way this match has been built, top to bottom every week, I could not be more excited, but I feel like the biggest underdogs going into it is Ace Austin and Madman Fulton.
Oh, indeed. And so we'll talk about that on the prediction part. But anyway, so just to cut some time and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then plus, and then we have is another video package as well from Kylie Rae, actually. And she did a pretty good job, you know, like doing the video promo about her upcoming match against Deonna Purrazzo, as she dreamt as a little girl that she wanted to compete at Bound for Glory. And she's going to show Deonna the different side of her after what she did to Susie and how much like she's been a bully, like bringing like that niceness into like a whole new level. And your thoughts, Noah?
I mean, again, she's going in shy, timid, but focused and emotionally driven after the fall of her friend that she literally was forced to watch. She is out for one thing. That is redemption and revenge. And she wants the Knockouts Championship. Kylie Rae, to me, is one of those wrestlers that you really think that shouldn't be as good as she is. She is. And every time she's in the wrestling ring with somebody, she leaves a positive impact, no pun intended, with her smile or, you know, her submission finisher, the smiley end, as they call it. But also she goes in here and says that, yeah, I lost my mood. I lost my temper. Sometimes I lose my temper sometimes. She acknowledges that, but she also acknowledges that that might be what she needs to dethrone Deonna Purrazzo. And Deonna Purrazzo should not take her lightly. Only thing I gotta say is, Kylie, I hope you have an equalizer to the curator, because I know Deonna Purrazzo is not coming alone to this one.
Indeed. All right, so let's move on to the next segment. So you have is a continuation of Jimmy Jacobs being kidnapped by the Hooded Minion. They took him to like a warehouse where they placed him there, and then out comes EC3. And then after the commercial, of course, the continuation of that whole like narrative, like hostage. So EC3 told him like, you're in the narrative, undisclosed location inside EC3 narrative. Like his story.
You're just saying narrative. You're just confused as hell.
I know. I am so confused with this whole storyline altogether, especially how EC3 want to say stories, narrative. Is it kind of like the same thing? Like, hello, you know? And I know Jimmy Jacobs asking him like what he's going to do to the title, you know, if he beats Moose and stuff like that. And EC3 confirms that he's going to plan to burn it. He's going to burn the title and the legacy into dust because he wanted to move forward to the future. And I understand it why, because the old TNA title, it brought prestige history of it, but we have is a new Impact title. I mean, I understand that. Noah, overall, what's your thoughts of this segment?
You know, it's funny. I saw AC3 on Ring of Honor this Monday night in the Pure Honor thing. He introduced the idea of, is honor real? Trying to reverse what Ring of Honor stands for. And then talk about what he wants to do in Ring of Honor to not only still control the narrative, but also prove something to himself. He's not there to wrestle. He's there to fight. In a way, that's what he's trying to do with Moose here. He's trying to purify himself. He's trying to cleanse himself of that legacy, that previous Ethan Carter III legacy, this TNA Heavyweight Championship. He's not talking about a physical burning. Now I get it. It's more of a psychological type burning the legacy of this title to the ground. I might be thinking too far into this. I literally was about to read off a tweet and comment, but I'm like, no, you know what? No, I'm not going to plagiarize this because, truth be told, I don't understand the narrative, and neither does Jimmy Jacobs. The narrative is what you perceive it to be. For EC3, it is freedom. He sums it down to 3 words: control, freedom, purpose. Freeing himself, finding purpose, controlling his own future, his own legacy, himself, redefining himself. He wants to find the real Moose in doing that, and he feels the only way he can do that is through himself. Moose can't do this on his own, and that's what this really is coming down to. And he believes this Saturday, if he beats Moose, not only will he purify himself of this past legacy of the TNA Championship, but he will be able to also bring out the real Moose. He said he suddenly got that during that bridge attack scene. So as far as what's come Saturday, Moose, you've been warned. We'll all have to wait and see.
Exactly. Anyway, so let's go ahead and move to the next match, which is Eddie Edwards versus Sami Callihan. Not much to say. I mean, it's your typical match between Callahan and Eddie Edwards, like rolling each other. I mean, Eddie Edwards with a high tope suicida towards Sami outside the ring, and then afterwards he did rake his eyes. So pretty much is like a lot of like back and forth going on. I mean, Eddie with the blue thunder bomb for a 2 count, and then Sami Callihan with a power bomb for a 2 counts, and then of course Edwards did the Tiger Driver for the 2 count. And then until Sami grabbed his iPhone and just pressed like a screen anywhere in random, lights turn off and then turn back on, and out comes Impact Wrestling Hall of Famer Ken Shamrock, and of course with the distraction, Sami Callihan with the roll up, and of course Sami Callihan won, and afterwards like Eddie attacked Sami and then Ken attacked Eddie Edwards. And yeah, so pretty much it's just a preparation for their match at Bound for Glory between Eddie Edwards and Ken Shamrock. And I'm pretty intrigued about like how they're gonna do with the Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame, especially with Ken Shamrock. I know The Rock is actually gonna be inducting Ken Shamrock. That's big, and I know we're gonna be talking about that. So your thoughts on this match?
To think this feud between Sami Callihan and Eddie Edwards started in a past era of Impact Wrestling with a chair and a baseball bat and a punctured right eye. And that eye was basically focused again here as a fallback during this match. I thought Eddie Edwards personally had him was going to go into Bound for Glory with some momentum, especially after the Tiger Driver. Eddie Edwards, though, and Sami Callihan, they put up one hell of a fight, I thought. I thought this was a pretty darn good match. But in the end, we fall back to Sami, who seems to be having this control almost, like there's a chip implanted in Ken Shamrock. He hits the phone, the lights go out, and next thing you know, I see you. There's Ken Shamrock. Distraction play, simple roll-up victory for Sami. And then Sami is basically at the mercy of Edwards, only for Ken to come in and once again hinder Eddie Edwards as we head into Bound for Glory. I feel like the biggest thing going on here is how much pain Eddie Edwards can take, but also how much pain Ken Shamrock can dish out. As we look to see, is the old Ken Shamrock truly back or is going to be used? And honestly, does Ken Shamrock want that or does Sami Callihan want that? I feel this is more than just Ken Shamrock versus Eddie Edwards. But come Saturday, we'll have to wait and see. But I thought it was a good match and a nice build into what's to come this Saturday. As far as his introduction, that's going to be a whole different side of Ken Shamrock, the humble, happy to be involved, to be, inducted into this Hall of Fame, and of course be inducted by, of all people, The Rock, which I still think is unbelievable. So yeah, I thought it was a good match and a good build into what's to come Saturday for both Ken Shamrock's Hall of Fame induction and his match with Eddie Edwards. But can he get it done this year versus last year? That's the bigger question. Because last year at Ken Shamrock, he lost.
Indeed. So this is going to be pretty interesting to see. But again, we're going to be covering it on the prediction part.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go ahead and move on. So I know it's like out of order, but I'm just going to say this right now. Rosemary and Johnny Bravo's video package of their upcoming wedding on Halloween week. Again, not too much to say, of course. And again, like we did cover about what's going to be happening with Johnny Bravo. I feel there's going to be a shenanigan going on, especially the Knockouts tag team as well, because I know half of the Knockouts tag team is probably going to be participating in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. I mean, it's been confirmed that Taya Valkyrie and Havoc will be participating in the Gauntlet match at Bound for Glory.
There you go.
So anyway, and then it's a video package of the 6-way scramble match for the X Division title, and that's going to be, and I was impressed. Don't get me wrong. It got me so hyped up for what's going to happen. Like, I got to be honest. I wish it would be the Ultimate X match, but I can understand why, because you need to have the live audience and, to hype up. But, I mean, Ultimate X match, make it as a cinematic match. But a 6-week scramble for the X Division, it's good. But looking forward to it. Your thoughts?
I feel this X Division title picture is very deep, and the way they built out to this, I think, is very impressive. And of all people going in as champion, the last one on my mind would have been Rohit, with all due respect. I must say, though, the way that they built this and the X factor, no pun intended, in this match, I think, is Jordan Grace. It really leads me to wonder who's going to lead the X Division. Can one of the two men in here that hasn't gotten the title yet, can they finally become the X Division champion? So the way that this has been built, this whole idea around opportunity, which I think is rather freaking funny, I've enjoyed the way that this has been built. And I think a 6-way scramble is a great way now to find who really deserves to own this gold. Because everybody in here, they got a beef with the champ or someone else in this match. I thought it was a good build.
Indeed. And then that's going to lead into the next match we'll talk about. It's the 6-man tag team match. Willie Mack, TJP, and Trey Miguel versus Chris Bay, Jordan Grace, and Rohit Raju. And pretty much it's what to expect to see at Bound for Glory. It's a lot of, like, incredible moments. Even though Chris Bay and Jordan Grace only tag each other instead of Rohit Raju, but of course,
I saw that coming.
yeah, Rohit made a plea, and so Jordan's like, why not? And he was about to go on top rope, of course, but TJP did counter with the missile drop kick, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's a lot of back and forth going on. Jordan Grace, she did an impressive job, especially doing that, like, sidewalk slam to, I believe it was to TJP. Yeah.
It was, because later on, she planted Willie Mack with an emphatic spine buster. Good Lord, the power of that woman.
Yeah, like, jeez. Yeah, so it is, like, pretty interesting. At the end, Trey Miguel with the boot, and he pinned Rohit Raju to pick up the victory. So it got me to wonder that, are we going to be seeing, like, Trey as a champ?
Well, Trey or TJP, they are the only two men in this match that have yet to be, keyword men, X Division champion, I believe. And again, you got the X Factor, Jordan Grace. But also what I found interesting is the end of the match. It falls back to what really began this whole 6-way in the first place. The former champ, Mr. Finesse, Chris Bay, losing the title to Rahit. And Rahit, once again, trying to steal opportunity and trying to steal the win from Chris Bay in this match. In the end, it ended up biting the champ in the ass because Chris Bay took him out, and then Chris Bay got taken out, and Trey capitalized, pinning the champ.
Exactly. And it's just leaving so many questionable doubt, too. But, well, this is going to be interesting to fun to predict about that. But, yeah. Anyway, so let's go and move on. So you have a video package of Eric Young and Rich Swann, which is the last of the video package, by the way.
I know you were happy about that. I think it's how to say video package.
Video package. Yeah, that's like the whole episode. Which
like freaking Beetlejuice.
Well, they did a good job hyping up those different video packagings, just to get everybody invest in, like, just to purchase Bound for Glory.
Well, considering Bound for Glory's pay-per-view price on Fight TV, $39.99. Yes, I just bought it during the show. Also, you got to find that nice balance, which a lot of wrestling doesn't know how to do, it seems, with go-home shows. You got to have some good video package with guidelines to what led us so far to this story and these matches made in the first place. They also ran down the entire final card, and they kept us pretty fresh also through the show with some decent action, highlighting most of these matches, and also what's to come following at Bound for Glory, which of course is the wedding, which is basically the epilogue of Western House. So
exactly.
I thought this show was pretty well balanced. And again, as you said, this last video package, really what this whole pay-per-view has been surrounded by. Eric Young saying, this is not their world, it's ours. And I just keep looking back at this video package, Eric Young looking at himself in the suit, and then himself in almost this prisoner type attire. It's like a past life Eric Young didn't capitalize on what he truly could be. He's looking at himself in the mirror of what he once was, no longer isn't. Nobody can control me. Nobody defines me. I hold everything now. Everything is under my word, my watch, my way, my world. And it kind of played here, of course, in what followed the video package, a sit-down interview.
Exactly. Yeah, Eric Young being interviewed by Gia Miller and talk about, like, what he's going to do at Bound for Glory and how he sent a message to Rich Swann. But then after the interview, he got attacked by Rich Swann, and they both brawl out.
And then we have no idea what the thought was from that either. What I find interesting, though, is the very last statement Eric Young said. Also, I'm glad Gia got out of there unscathed, because you could tell she wanted to get the F out of there. Eric Young, he basically said that his actions aren't his responsibility. What he does is on Rich Swann. He said he gave Rich Swann a way out. That's why he personally injured him, apparently, and put him into retirement. Rich Swann, though, didn't want the way out. He wanted back in because he wants what Eric Young has. So now Eric Young's going to make sure that he puts him out once and for all. And apparently, he's not going to hold anything back. I mean, shoot, he's already attacked everybody, including Scott D'Amore.
Exactly. So it is something that, like, it's going to be a one for all to see this rivalry. So, but we're going to see what's going to happen when we talk about it in the prediction.
Right.
And with that being said, the last which is the main event match between the North versus the Good Brothers. So pretty much
Ew.
both teams. So, oh God, you're
sorry. Continue.
okay. Yeah, both teams don't like each other and they brawl. I feel like it's kind of like a brawl fest, like they both fighting against each other. It's not like a real match. And to sum them up, they actually brawl it out, and there's a referee that has no control of, so he decided to end in a no contest.
Like, you know what? The hell of it. He literally went, ring the bell, F it, I'm out of here. You all just beat the hell out of each other.
Yeah.
And they suddenly talk about how the other two teams aren't involved in this. How does that play a factor in Bound for Glory? Well, they definitely did not take the night off.
Exactly. Ace Austin and Madman Fulton came by and attack, and then followed by Motor City Machine Guns too. And then of course, before the show ends, you saw that the Good Brothers did the Magic Killer to Chris Sabin, of course, and they were standing tall.
And the thing, before this, they're like, we are going to be your grinders. We want you to go in 100% in Bound for Glory. Well, now you're going to be 90% because one last statement, bang, shots fired. The Good Brothers dropped the tag champs and owned the ring. But I thought it was a pretty good match for the time they got because, again, they didn't have a lot of time, clearly.
Agree. Yeah, and especially like between commercial breaks, which I did watch it on Twitch, and it was hosted by Melissa Santos.
As always.
Yep. And it just seemed that like with the main event match, it just needed to something, bring it up like more convincing, like especially when you have the last of the show before the pay-per-view.
Well, I mean, it's kind of hyped up, again, what I feel like some people should think, or think should close the show. I think you even said this. That's basically like the main event. So I can see it both ways as far as how you're interpreting it. But again, they did hype up all the title matches, and I feel like at the end of the day, those are the biggest matches you want people to invest in going into what is supposed to be, again, their words, your biggest show of the year. This is Impact Wrestling's WrestleMania. I know I said that. But again, it's basically like the reset of the entire brand. I mean, the Summerversary was like the rebirth of the roster, okay? Bound for Glory is the reset of the brand. So we're just going to have to wait and see. But I thought overall, pretty good go-home show.
Indeed. I definitely agree, especially like the matches definitely tells a story of like what's going to be happening, especially the video packaging, even though like I know there'll be some mixed opinions about the video packaging, but I feel like it's actually well played, especially convincing more people like, you know, what you missed from Impact and then how it's going to lead to Bound. We're going to be seeing some of the video packages on this episode on the pay-per-view actually before each of the matches starts.
That's always a thing.
Yeah. Alrighty, so we're going to give our thumbs up, thumbs down ranking. So Noah, where do you rank this show?
I figured it was pretty balanced. I mean, it wasn't like a show I would go back and rewatch, like, encore, all this was amazing. But again, it was the hype. It was a go-home show. You wanted people to actually be invested in investing in this pay-per-view. You want this to feel as big as possible. You want all the title matches to feel important, but you don't want something to be overshadowed by something else. And I feel like pretty much they balanced that as well as had some fun, giving us an idea of what to maybe expect in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. So I'm going to be respectful here, and I'm going to simply say 1.5. It was a little bit of everything.
Same here. I'm going with 1.5 as well. I was pretty impressed with the show itself, even though like the Russell House segment of the wedding rehearsal drama, whatever, is kind of like an overkill. I know the EC3 moves the storyline. It's like, even though it can be a bit confusing, but then it's starting to get even more and more interesting.
It's just weaving more and more just ideas in your head. This is why you were just stuck saying the narrative.
Yeah, exactly. And then like, and you're expecting to see what's going to be happening next, especially with those matches too. But a solid go-home episode of Impact Wrestling before Bound for Glory. And so before we get into the predictions for Bound for Glory, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to hear from Philip of Chicle TV.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Philip here. Look, there are so many channels out there on YouTube that do pranks and challenges and funny videos like That Just Happened TV, Nelk, and Love Live Serve. But why don't you look up Chicle TV? Yes, Chicle TV. Chikle TV. It is a channel I started with my buddy Vinny a couple years ago, and we've done wrestling finishers in public. He's done eating challenges. We've done pranks to people. It's a whole lot of fun. You know, when you go to YouTube, it is the thumbnail with the guy blowing the bubble. It says Chicle TV right in the bubble. And look, you know, just sit down, relax, hop on YouTube, look up Chicle TV, and...
Ooh, a little bit of the bubbly.
crack open a little bit of the bubbly. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Cheekly TV, like, share, subscribe. It is the freshest channel on YouTube.
All right, y'all, and we are back. So, last and not least, even though I found out we just got a breaking news, which I'm going to say it after the prediction, Noah.
Uh-oh.
So, it's a good breaking news. So, yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
Anyway, we have is Bound for Glory that's going to be taking place Saturday, October 24th at the Skyway Studio, of course, their usual Impact Wrestling home since the COVID hit. Yep. So there's already 7 confirmed matches altogether for the pay-per-view, and it is a pretty strong card too, especially the video package actually helped a lot.
Indeed.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to kick things off. I feel in no particular order, so we're going to kick things off. So you have is Eddie Edwards versus Ken Shamrock with Sami Callihan. So Ken Shamrock is going to be inducted to the Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame. That's right, inducted by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So it looks like it's going to be like kind of like a match itself. Like you have is the heart of Impact Wrestling and the new Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame are batting out against each other, even though like Ken Shamrock is actually under the control of like Sami Callihan from the looks of it.
Clearly.
Yeah, it's like the last time we seen Ken Shamrock like with Sami Callihan was the aftermath of Slammiversary, and then he came back like 3 or 4 weeks later.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go with my picks already. I'm actually gonna go with Ken Shamrock because, you know, when you have someone that's inducted to the Hall of Fame, you need to have someone that can, like, you know, bring his A game, especially, like, how he's going to present himself in a match, especially being a Hall of Famer, too. As much as I adore Eddie Edwards, you know, but I feel like an L from him, you know, will not hurt him. But, yeah, so I'm going with Ken Shamrock. Who do you got, Noah?
See, this is one of those matches that I think kind of can go either way. Ken Shamrock, he lost, of course, at last year's Bound for Glory. He also lost with Sami Callihan in pursuing the tag titles against former long tag team champions, the North. Then you got Eddie Edwards, who's been like a Impact Wrestling original, beating the likes of Killer Cross under a past life. And he even became the Impact Heavyweight Champion at Slammiversary, but of course lost it to Eric Young. He's had his ring match with Eric Young. He fell out with that. And now we got this interesting feud where Ken Shamrock and Eddie Edwards are going to beat the hell out of each other, but more so is Sami Callihan pulling the strings. I figure about where this could go. I figure about the future direction. I figure about who needs to win more. People want the old Ken Shamrock, but if we do get that and he wins, what can we expect next after the guy? As far as we go in the Hall of Fame, he's done everything he needs to do. He has that legacy. Now he can be used to help raise Impact Wrestling's younger talent. So it's for that reason that I think Eddie Edwards is going to pull out the win, especially because he's already been at the mercy of his ankle lock now on countless occasions. He's got to find a way to counter it. I'm going with Eddie Edwards. Last time I did, it bit me in the ass. This time I'm going with him.
Alrighty, so we got 2 different opinions about it and 2 different picks, but we'll see what's going to happen next, Noah. All right. So next up you have is the 6-way intergender scramble match for the Impact X Division Championship match, which you have is the current champ Rohit Raju versus Chris Bay versus Jordan Grace versus Willie Mack versus TJP versus Trey Miguel. And so when it comes to like multi-matches involving multi-people, we normally do primary and secondary pick. So Noah, who are your primary and your secondary pick?
I could talk about this match all night, but we already talked pretty much almost for 2 hours. So I'm going to try and keep these brief and simple. So let me think about this real quick. We got the current champ, Rohit Raju, former champ, Chris Bay, potential new champion, TJP, uncrowned champion for the longest time, in my opinion, my hometown boy, Trey Miguel. You have former exhibition champ, Willie Mack, and you have the X Factor, Jordan Grace. Well, I feel like this really would break barriers with Jordan Grace being the exhibition champ, something that somebody couldn't do last year in Bound for Glory in the ladder match. I don't think she's necessarily going to win. Rohit has basically gone through everybody here, so he's already given everybody opportunity. So the title has to change hands, in my opinion. But do you go back to the guy that had the shortest reign, by my surprise, or do you surprise us? That's the tough part. But again, not going to keep us here all night. My primary to win the X Division Championship, I'm going with hometown boy. I'm going with Trey Miguel. So get it done, Trey. And as far as secondary, I've been wondering why he hasn't been it yet, he actually pinned the champion, and this isn't the other company. I'm going against other people's wrestling logic based on the big W. I'm hopeful, even though he's working also, I might add, in NJPW Strong, I want TJP to finally do it. So my secondary is TJP.
Alrighty. That's a good, interesting pick. So I'm going to go with my primary pick. So my primary pick, I'm actually going to go with Trey Miguel because I feel that he's the one that actually pinned Rohit Raju at the six-man tag team match.
Correct.
And I feel he has a lot of potential for it too. So I'm definitely going to go with Trey Miguel. My secondary pick, I feel it's going to be someone that definitely deserves a rematch and definitely need to hold that title for much longer since he only holds that title in like a short, lengthy time. I'm going with Chris Bay.
I'm not surprised by that. I already sort of figured that. That's your boy, the Mr. Finesse. And yeah, again, out of nowhere, Rohit Raju got the better of him. He outsmarted him.
So it's just time for him to bring back the gold that he definitely deserved altogether. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting, especially curious to know. I mean, I wish it would have been the Ultimate X match, but I think we'll just stick with the six-way scramble for the time being, too. Yeah. Anyway, so let's go and move on to the next match. EC3 versus Moose, the unsanctioned match.
From an undisclosed location.
Yep. So, yeah, that storyline, like I said, it's confusing as hell. But EC3 always came out with an incredible promo. So for my pick to cut it short, I'm going with EC3 because I feel like, having too much of a title, I feel like the old TNA World Heavyweight title needs to burn down because we already have the current Impact Wrestling title. And I think, like, for him, it's just to control this whole narrative together. And there's, like...
that word again.
Yeah, and then there's this whole, like, speculation for EC3. There's so many, opponents for him that he could face, too. So, a lot of, like, feature for EC3. Noah, who you're going for?
Well, again, it's not physically about the title. It's more so about what the title stands for and destroying that. The only way that can be destroyed is if EC3 is victorious. Moose has already been warned. We're going to see if we do get the real Moose, but we're also going to see what this EC3 truly can bring. I got to go with EC3.
Awesome. So we both came into an agreement, too. So
it happens once in the blue moon.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm just curious to see what they're going to do in the undisclosed location. It's definitely going to be inside of his story narrative warehouse that we saw from EC.
The narrative. That's the undisclosed location. The narrative.
There we go. Alrighty, so it's going to move on to the next match, which is going to be your Call Your Shot Gauntlet match. So the winner of the Gauntlet match could choose any of the championship match of their choosing. So here are the remaining participants. So you have is AC Romero, Alicia Edwards, Cody Deaner, Jake Deaner, Brian Myers, Havoc, Heath, Hernandez, Larry D, Rhino, Taya Valkyrin, Tennille Dashwood, and Tommy Dreamer. And regarding with Heath and Rhino, so Rhino is going to be going first for the Gauntlet, and Hernandez is going to be in number 20. And so for the kicker, if Heath or Rhino wins, then Heath gets the full-time contract with Impact Wrestling. But if Heath and Rhino loses, not only that Heath is not going to get signed to Impact, but Rhino is going to be fired. So we're going to be doing primary and secondary pick again, and we're going to do a surprise pick as well. That's what we normally do for, like, the no DQ prediction as well. So, Noah, I want you to kick off first. Primary, secondary, and a surprise.
The biggest story out of this match is Heath or Rhino have to win, or Heath is gone for Impact. You think about the number one thing trending in Impact Wrestling since freaking Summerversary. Hashtag Heath for Impact. If he loses here, that dies. So I don't know necessarily if you could just literally call him out to be the winner. That'd be too obvious. But something in me kind of wants to pick him. So he's actually my secondary. But as far as my primary, looking at this entire field, I have no damn clue what direction this could go. Maybe Caleb, with the K, could come into play and help Tennille Dashwood try and win so she can actually get a shot towards the Knockouts Championship. I think about the Deaners, who are going to be in for each other. They could potentially go after the tag team titles. Brian Myers, Tommy Dreamer, they got their own thing going on, okay? I think they're going to have something else besides this that's going to cost them. And then I think about these other Triple XL guys. They're going to be the number one targets that are going to be thrown out first. It's as simple as that, because that is the downfall to anybody in a gauntlet, battle royale, over the top, whatever you call it. So with that being said, my primary, oh my gosh, there is so many possibilities. And Hernandez is number 20, so that almost seems like he is a must to win. But I just feel like something's going to cost him. Maybe Bob. Maybe Bob will be in this and cost him. Well, Bob is in this because he was in that. No, he's not. He wasn't in that 10-man. Damn it. All right, I'm just going to go for it. It's a shot in the dark. I'm going to say primary for me. I'm going to say Tennille Dashwood. I think a Tennille Dashwood knockouts program, based on what I think about later, could be very interesting. And again, she's got Caleb, with a K, that could play as an X factor to keep her in the ring, for all we know, besides just getting her posing on the ropes. And secondary, I'm going to say Heath Slater. But as far as surprise, I think about Talking Shop. I think about what I just saw. I'm going to just say it right now. One of my surprise entrants, Rocky Romero.
Interesting. So pretty much Impact Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling crossover. I mean, I know that TJP is already in New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong, for New Japan Pro Wrestling USA. So that would make it more interesting sense to say. So yeah. So for me, I'm going to go with my primary pick. So my obvious primary pick is going to be Heath, because I feel like he definitely pick up the W, especially granting the contract. And regarding for which title he could go for, I mean, I could see him going for like a mid-card title, but is there any mid-card title left? Possibly not.
Unless you see him go into the X Division, he's going to go after the world title.
Exactly.
He wanted that contract that Scott D'Amore refused him. He wins this, he's got that contract.
Indeed. And then for my secondary pick, I feel that for him, he definitely earns a shot, but then there's going to be a twist. So my secondary pick is going to be Brian Myers. And for my surprise pick, well, he's no longer with AEW because he signed a short contract, so screw it. I'm going with Matt Cardona as my surprise pick.
Cardona!
We have Matt Cardona made a surprise pick, surprise appearance, and he and Brian Myers can finally tag team, even though they stated that they don't want to be tag team anymore. But I feel like just a tag team with Impact Wrestling. And I know they're going to be making an appearance on Talkin' Shop Mania 2 in November. And they're a part of a podcast together. So I figure that, like, if Matt Cardona comes in and helps Brian Myers win, maybe Brian Myers could challenge him and Matt for the tag team titles.
He might challenge for this.
Oh, God, no. But maybe I could see Taya challenge for that. I don't know. But
I forgot Taya Valkyrie's in this fate, too.
Yeah, and
Taya Valkyrie challenging for this title. Taya Valkyrie versus Booth for this.
But we're going to be seeing, like, pretty much almost all the knockouts in the gauntlet match. I mean, Kiera Hogan, Tasha Steelz, of course, Nevaeh.
I mean, if all the knockouts were in this, you would have no room for the men. There's only 20 people in this. They got 15 knockouts, just saying.
Or even Jay Chris. We haven't seen in a while.
Yeah. That's a dark horse right there.
Yeah, definitely. So, all in all, primary pick, Heath. Secondary, Brian Myers. My surprise pick is Matt Cardona.
All right.
So, anyway, next up, it's going to be the Knockouts Championship match, which you have is the Virtuosa, the current champ, Deonna Purrazzo versus Smiley Kylie Rae. And I feel this match might be the match of the night from the looks of it.
It's a sleeper.
Oh, yeah. But I'm going to go ahead with my pick. I feel that there's going to be some tomfoolery going on, and I feel that there's going to be a transformation. So, a pretty interesting transformation that's going to cause the match altogether. So, I'm going to go with Deonna Purrazzo to retain the title. Ooh. And we're definitely going to be seeing Susie again. But then she's going to go into full-blown transformation of Su Yung. Mind you, Halloween is right around the corner, Noah.
I'm aware.
With her cryptid tweets and stuff, it looks like it's time for, like, Susie to become Su Yung. And that's where her and Kylie Rae can start their next feud. Or how about Su Yung with Deonna Purrazzo? So, yeah, I'm going with Deonna to retain the title. She can hold on to the title for X amount of time. And, yeah, Who you got, Noah?
Oh man, this one I'm still torn on. I love Kylie Ray. I love her personality and attitude. I love her ambition. And I keep saying she's got to channel something to overcome Deonna Purrazzo. But I also think about the curator at ringside. And that could also be the X factor here. But I also think about what you just said. How is Su Yung going to play into this? We've seen how Su Yung has been channeled through Kylie Ray, through her anger as she's destroyed Kimberly out of nowhere and has shown that ruthless aggression in a degree against Deonna Purrazzo. This one, again, could truly go either way. This one I'm most torn on. But I'm just going to go out there and say it. Kylie Ray, she's been part of Impact Wrestling now for a while. Everywhere else, she is making strides on the independent scene, champions across all promotions. But Deonna Purrazzo has redefined herself in Impact Wrestling. And honestly, people didn't even think she was signed. I think she is signed now. She's already given us a classic with Jordynne Grace in an Iron Woman match. I think about, though, Tenille Dashwood does win in my case. It does make more sense for, honestly, either of these, because she did come out and interrupt her black tie affair. So with that being said, it's hard to bet against the champ in this case because of Kimberly. But I definitely see an epilogue to this, whether it's a more aggressive, possessed Kylie Ray taking her on again, or Su Yung saying your time has come and taking on the champ. But something in me feels like right now it's not Kylie Ray's time. I begrudgingly agree with you with Deonna Purrazzo. Damn it.
Yeah, I know it's hard to say it, but I think it's going to be the right call too. Especially you need to have like a strong champion like Deonna Purrazzo to carry the knockouts divisions too. Especially with all the endless feud that's going to be happening on next.
I'm just wondering how Su Young's going to interfere in this at all. Whether we truly see it channeling Kylie Ray with twitching, or she tries to pull up a panic switch, or literally lights go out, and we hear that music, and then it transforms, and boom, Su Young.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, Su Young's coming back. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and I think that might be. I think there's going to be a bit of a cinematography going on a bit too, unless if they're going to. Impact Wrestling will bring back a little bit of fans, but not too much, like, friends or family or staff members.
Nah, they're not going to do that. They're the one company right now that really has not thought about doing that at all. And so honestly, that's to its strength.
You never know what to expect, Noah, because I know
True.
a lot of people
I'll give you that.
Especially for the pay-per-view. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to next match. 4-way tag team match for the Impact World Tag Team Championship, which you have as the current champ, the Motor City Machine Gun, versus a team of Ace Austin and Madman Fulton versus the Good Brothers versus the North. And I feel this is going to be another show stealer of the night, too. So, Noah, who do you got, primary and secondary pick?
Oh, damn. Okay, well, the tag champs come out nowhere in Slammiversary. Team established since 2008, I believe, and they dethroned the longest reigning tag team champions in Impact Wrestling history, the North. I honestly thought nobody could ever beat these guys, and I was pleasantly surprised. The North want their titles back. You have this impromptu mixed tag team of Madman Fulton and Ace Austin. In my opinion, Ace Austin, I'm surprised he's not Impact World Champion. Still think he should have won Bound for Glory, but I digress. Or Slammiversary, botch, but I digress. And then out of nowhere, you got the Good Brothers coming into Impact Wrestling, and they have set their sights on the Motor City Machine Guns. Something about this match tells me that the Motor City Machine Guns are going to retain, because I want to see a battle of the guns. I want to see the Machine Guns versus Machine Guns. I feel it's going to come down to Good Brothers versus Motor City Machine Guns at a later day. Because right now, I just don't see Madman Fulton or Ace Austin as tag team champs. I really don't. So it kind of is easy for me to figure out who I think is going to win this match, secondary and primary. Primary, I'm not going against what right now seems like the best tag team going today. I'm going with the champs, the Motor City Machine Guns retaining. As far as secondary, that comes down to the longest reigning champs and the Good Brothers. And what I want to happen needs to happen, then the North needs to literally take a break. So my secondary is the Good Brothers.
I definitely agree with you. I'm actually going to be going with Motor City Machine Guns. I mean, they just won their title against the North not too long ago after the whole, aftermath of Slammiversary. So, yeah, they need to bring it in, especially with, more of the tag team competition. Secondary pick, of course, I'm going with the Good Brothers as well. I mean, they've been promoting their Talking Shop shows that is now on Access TV, and they have the upcoming pay-per-view in November for Talking Shop and Mania, too, for the worst pay-per-view ever. It's going to be funny as hell, but I digress. So I feel that, with the Good Brothers, they definitely deserve a title opportunity if it's, the next resort for it, too, because, I don't see the Good I don't see the North chasing for another title for a while. Like, God knows how long they're going to be coming to America from Canada with the whole restriction that's been going on as of late. And Madman Fulton and Ace Austin, I feel they need to go on their separate ways too, because we have other tag teams that have like competition arise too. And
That's right.
and like, cause I mentioned it about Brian Myers and Matt Cardona. Motor City Machine Guns versus Cardona and Myers. That's gonna be like a banger of a match.
It will be an interesting match. The Rascals, you know, they'll be waiting in the wings for the tag champs as well, because they have ambitions for a tag gold.
So it's a lot of like, what if that's going to be happening? But we'll find out. All right, and then we're going to kick things off with the final match, the main event match, which is going to be for the Impact World Championship match. Your current champ, Eric Young versus Rich Swann. This is a very compelling feud in the making between EY and Rich Swann, especially Rich saying that he retired, but not really. It was part of a storyline. And then now he wanted to beat the holy head of EY for what he did during the, the scramble match at Slammiversary too.
Correct.
So I'm going to go ahead. Honestly, I don't see Rich Swann winning the title because I feel that there's another feud that, that was up for EY. And for Rich, like, he could take a break for quite a while with Impact Wrestling, or just continue with a different feud too, like possibly with Ken Shamrock or Sami Callihan or anybody. So I'm going with EY to retain the title. Go ahead.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where it seems completely obvious that the younger guy finally gets his opportunity over the veteran. But you think about this reinvented, rebirthed Eric Young, and you think about where his reign can go from here. Can he be a trailblazer for Impact Wrestling as their world champion and continue this maniacal offspring of violence and uncontrollable chaos? Part of me wants to believe that. But if you literally have invested to the point that you thought the man was going to retire, and you reach out to the executive president of freaking Impact Wrestling, who's a former wrestler, I might add, he really is as emotionally invested in him getting the title as the competitor is retaining the title. Both of these men are driven by that little piece of gold. Rich Swann more so is driven by the fact this is his last shot, really. This is one and done, baby. So, with that being said, I already gone with one narrative, but this is not a narrative. This is a story of a man finally reaching the summit. I'm going with Rich Swann becomes the new Impact World Heavyweight Champion.
Interesting. That's going to be pretty interesting to say, at least, even though you disappear for a brief time, Noah, but I digress. Yeah, like, I could definitely see it either way, though, but, like, the whole reason why I choose EY, because, like, he could definitely demolish Rich Swann. I mean, to dub himself as a world-class maniac, especially with those different vignettes that have been promoting Back for Glory, that actually define, like, his true character he is, too.
True.
Yeah. So
again, this match could be a sleeper too. It could go either way, and then you wonder what post surprise might await. Because truth be told, in either case, someone might come out and attack the champ or face off against the champ. So I see your point as well. But again, Rich Swann, he's been part of Impact Wrestling for a while now. He's been X Division champion. He beat freaking Johnny Impact at freaking Rebellion for the X Division title. He's been in the ring with Sami Callihan. I definitely can see Rich Swann leading this company as Impact World Champion. So I think it's his time.
Agree. Definitely. Like, either way. Anyway, so with that being said, that is it for the prediction video / audio for Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory. Again, it's going to be on Fight TV this Saturday, October 24th, and it starts at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you guys, which is 8 p.m. East Coast time.
Yep, but of course they got specials before that too, which I have to imagine will include the freaking Hall of Fame.
Exactly. Alrighty, and before we close off the episode, I received breaking news from the Bulletcast Instagram page that on Primetime, the last episode of Primetime Live, the Pope defeated Zicky Dice to become the new NWA television champion. That is right. That is a shock when I saw that.
Oh.
Yeah, because when I received the notification from the Bullet Cast Instagram page, I always post it, just make sure to promote and share it. And while we were like in the middle of talking about like Impact Wrestling, I believe the matches between Havoc and Rosemary, that's when I found out the news. So
well,
congratulations.
so much for Sticky Dice. Road to 7 to face Nick Aldis for the NWA World Championship. We reset the counter now. Congrats to the new champ.
Exactly. So congratulations to the Pope. Hopefully that title will be long, like in a long lineage. I know it's like a surprising. We have like Trevor Murdoch defeated Aaron Stevens for the NWA National Championship. Yep. And now the Pope against Ziggy Dice. That's going to be so much endless possibility all together.
I mean, the tag champs are still James Storm and Eli Drake. You still have the world champ as Nick Aldis, and of course you have the NWA Women's World Champion as Thunder Rosa. So we are in for some very special things when Power resumes. And I'm glad to know that's returning too. I miss that show.
Indeed. And on that note, that is it for the episode of Into the Stratusphere. So before we go home or log off or whatever, we are already at home because this is quarantine because Rona's still taking over the world. Noah, where they can find you?
Again, I keep it simple for you folks. You want to know more about me? Know this. I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of ... wrestling. So again, if you want to find me, Twitter, Instagram, PlayStation, YouTube, it's nfoster1916. Or find me on Twitch, nfoster191625. As always, support independent wrestling, because that's the heart of it, folks. And support wrestling analysts, big and small. Let's keep growing this incredible, diverse, unique, elite, authentic, unscripted, unrestricted wrestling community together. Simple as that. Good luck, Cindy. I hope to beat you this Saturday.
Good luck as well, Noah. But who knows? I may be another one. Oh my God, really, Noah? You have to put the picture of Yano again. God.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Lord. Anyway, so for you, those of you, Bulletcast Nation, you guys can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and my YouTube channel. I know I just put a picture of ICU of Sammy Catlan's icon. Oh, anyway, Twitter, Instagram, and on my YouTube channel at simply_C_OK. That's SIMPLY_C_OK. And also make sure to follow the Bullet Cast on every social media platform, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and subscribe to this YouTube channel as well. And make sure to follow the Bullet Cast in all podcasting platforms like Spotify, Anchor FM, Google Play, Apple Podcasts,
Lexicon,
Stitchers, and so on, so forth as well. And also, I just wanted to give a quick plug. Of course, like we're part of the contributor for NoDQ.com. Follow them on social media and YouTube channel and everything.
Yeah, stay tuned for Hell in the Cell coverage because, of course, we cover sports entertainment under NoDQ. And also, NoDQ Galaxy, I will have, of course, a forum for you for Hell in the Cell. And fudge it. Let's break barriers. There'll be a forum immediately following this podcast. Let's see who truly can be bound for glory and who can get this card right. So come on, people. Hop on board. Join Impact Wrestling. They are in a very good state. Time to become a fan of this promotion again.
That is right. So Noah's definitely going to be creating a spreadsheet for you guys, the Bulletcast Nation, if you want to join in the NoDQ Galaxy Prediction League for Bound for Glory and also like future pay-per-view. Make sure to, again, follow him on social media as he plugged earlier as well. And so anyway, you guys, on that note, so please make sure to wash your hands 20 to 30 seconds, practice social distancing, wear a face mask or any type of face covering, no excuses. Oh, and by the way, as a special, please make sure to vote early if you sign up for a mail-in ballot because your vote matters because we're getting close to election, aka hell. And again, people, oh my God, no. You had to put your father, James Mitchell, which I think he was going to resonate as a ghost, but I digress.
We'll see.
Anyway, he's just putting pictures in on Zoom for those of you watching it on video. But anyway, just remember to please be kind to one another. We're all in this together. Until then, we'll see you on the next episode where we're going to recap Bound for Glory. Cheers, y'all.
Go take a seat like Yano.
Oh, whatever. Bye, y'all.